up, guys? Welcome to today's episode of Many Mistakes Ago podcast. So, this one's going to be interesting because it's kind of fun and lighthearted and just kind of talking about, music more than anything, but it does stem from a deeper place. So, for those that don't know or haven't religiously listened to my podcast or know much about me, I went through a serious breakup in 2022. And that's when I went on my road of self discovery. I wanted to find out who I was again and figure out what I liked, what I didn't like. I discovered my sexuality in the process and pretty much just went on this journey of finding myself. And in doing so, I didn't really know what I liked anymore. And a lot of people, if you are in a long-term relationship, sometimes even a controlling or abusive relationship, you don't know what you like anymore. You don't know what your hobbies are, any of that. So I had to discover what I liked again. And for someone who knows she isn't active, I don't do sports or rock climbing. I'm not really big on hiking, stuff like that. That most people end up finding with hobbies. It wasn't for me. And I also am not artistic or creative. I can't draw or paint or do any of that wild stuff. Can't do pottery. So I just felt pretty limited, and I felt like I wanted something social to get me out, right? Because a book club might be nice, but it's also hard to find sometimes depending on your area. Um, and writing is kind of a solo act for me. So I guess I just felt like I needed to find something that would get me out, get me social. And I am a huge music lover. I love music. So in 2022, I decided I was going to go to as many concerts as possible. But I also wanted them to be artists that I loved and enjoyed. I wasn't just going to go to any random, you know, concert or anything like that. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna list off some concerts and I'm gonna list off some concerts that I've went to since going on my self-discovery journey and finding myself again and figuring out what I like. So the first concert that I went to, I had already planned when I was in a relationship, which is kind of funny because I bought two tickets. I had a friend in mind that was gonna go, and she did go. But I just find it funny because this is what kicked off my journey of I'm gonna go meet artists and listen to their music and socialize with people who also like this artist. So it was nice. So that concert was Kehlani, and that was in August of 2022. And I actually met her, and it was so much fun. That was my favorite concert because my ex and I had broken up a couple days previous to the concert. So it was really nice to be at this amazing concert with this superstar, in my eyes anyway. And just I got to talk to them, and Kaylani was like, girl, you're going to Italy without this person, F them, pretty much. I mean, Kaylani didn't say that, but they were basically like, you're kicking butt on your own, and you're living life, and you'll forget about them, forget that, you're going to Italy, there's nothing that tops that. And you know what, Kalani was right, nothing topped me going to Italy. It was an experience I was so glad to have on my own. But that concert, I had gotten the meet and greet, which is why I got to talk to them, and took a picture with her and everything. It was so awesome. I know Kalani goes by she, they, so I try to interchange it. Hopefully her pronouns have not changed since me recording this. But last I checked, it was she, they, so I'm like interchanging. So if the pronouns change for Kehlani or any of these artists, I do apologize. This is just to the best of my knowledge what their pronouns are. But anyway, so Kehlani was the kickoff of the experience, and that made me want to keep going so bad. So I went with my friend Alexis. We made a whole day out of it. I got my hair done. I had my makeup done at like 7 a.m. I did it, of course. And then I got my hair done, and like it was just a grand time. Then in September of 2022, my friend Jessie and I went to go see Black Bear. And that was an experience because my insulin pump site was kinked and I didn't realize. So I went there with her, and I believe I drove there and she ended up driving back, if I'm not mistaken. Because I kid you not, I was so sick. Like I was in basically DKA. I ended up taking my purse, dumping everything on the floor. I'm like in the passenger seat of her car after the concert, and I just threw up in my purse. Thankfully, it was like $20 from Plato's Closet. It wasn't like a serious purse or anything, but that purse went right in the gas station trash. Like I felt so bad. I was so pale, and I didn't realize because I figured like I was stressed out. I had alcohol, I had mac and cheese. So I was thinking my sugar was high. I gave insulin, it would go down. And during the concert, I was still drinking, which probably to the best of health, I shouldn't have been. Um, but again, I just didn't put two and two together that like my pump site was kinked. I just figured it was high because of all the sugars and carbs that I was consuming, and it would go down eventually. When it didn't go down is when I realized, okay, I have a problem, like something's going on. Throwing up, I had a problem. Like I was like, okay, something's going on. So we got that fixed and everything, but it was still a fun concert. We stayed for the whole thing. And clearly I'm fine. Next concert was okay. There's one that I didn't write on my list, and it was Jesse and I had went to New Haven to see Philip Phillips, and that was a fun show. I did enjoy that. We had a grand time, and I even think that I took her to Partners in New Haven. I don't know if it was that time or a different time, but she did see the drag show, and that was cool. It's a queer bar for those that don't know, and if you live in Connecticut, um, instead of going all the way to New York City to going to one of the gay bars there, Partners is, sadly the only queer bar that I know of. There's also one in Hartford, but that's like way up there. But anyway, we were in New Haven, so one in New Haven. But I can't remember the date of that, but I know that it was somewhere around that time, so I'm just gonna plop it in there. Then in October of 2022, this was around Halloween, if not like the day right before. I went to go see Fletcher in New York City. There was once upon a time the story of that concert on my podcast, but has since been deleted because I wanted to take a more mature approach if I ever talked about the story again. And essentially, I went with this girl that I was dating at the time, and due to health circumstances, I'll put it that way, I ended up leaving alone. So I left that concert by myself, got on the train, first time in New York City alone, mind you. I had been to New York City a couple of times, but this was my first time navigating it by myself, and I'm proud of myself that I navigated New York City. But yeah, essentially I had went there with that person that I was dating, and then I left alone. And the decisions that I made that night, some of them were great and some of them were not, but it definitely was a story to tell. There is a lot of drama involved, and I'm no longer that person, but Yeah, I can say that that was quite a night in New York City. I would love to go to a Fletcher concert again, so hopefully she comes to Texas soon. Um, I would imagine she would end up in Houston or Austin, if anything, which that's fine, girl. Let me know when you're coming. Um, the next concert, now, I had some concerts planned, but because in the springtime I decided to move to Texas from Connecticut, there was a lot going on. So I kind of lessened the amount of concerts that I went to after that Fletcher concert. So I then went to go see Beartooth in May of 2023, a couple weeks before I was leaving, with my friend Kat, and that was also in New Haven. That was a fun time. I believe Beartooth was an opener for someone else, if I'm not mistaken. So we left pretty early, and then we went to this bar that she knew, got some drinks, had some fun, and just spent time, talking and whatever, because she knew I was leaving. So it was a good concert. The next one, May of 2023, was in Massachusetts, Foxborough, Gillette Stadium, for the one and only Taylor Swift Eras Tour. That night was freaking incredible. I believe it was a Sunday. And I was pissed because I was like, I'm gonna have to work tomorrow, but it's so worth it. I brought this girl Emily, um, and her and I had the best time. I'm so glad I brought her too, because she's such a fun like concert person, and she knows like when to leave. Because I kid you not, that first of all, that show was amazing, but we didn't stay for the whole show, which was kind of disappointing in a sense, because I would have loved to experience the whole thing. But if anyone knows Gillette, it is a one road type of situation. So there is one way in, one way out kind of thing. And if you will, the traffic flow is all of Gillette. And then it goes into Massachusetts and Connecticut and you disperse. But I kid you not, Emily and I had left probably 5 songs before close, let's just say. We were like, okay, we should probably get going. So we got up out of our seats, we left. We were in the 300 section too, mind you. So like we had to like get the elevator, go downstairs, all that jazz. And I kid you not, we made it to the car. Traffic was already starting to get bad. Already starting to get bad. People were already leaving, and it's insane. And a lot of the people I think that were leaving were the ones that were outside, like that didn't get tickets to the show. But it was just insane because I had dropped her off, and she lives in like southern Connecticut, so that's like probably an hour, right? An hour drive from Foxborough to where she lived. I made it all the way there, and I had a friend who went, who was staying down the street, like 15 minutes down the street from Foxborough. I got an hour away before she got down the street. If that doesn't tell you how bad the traffic was that night, I don't know what will. And I just knew right then and there. I was like, yep, we made the best decision. But yeah, Emily and I had the best time, even though she had knee issues. She had to get like a knee replacement or surgery. Oh my God. Forgive me because I don't even remember. But yeah, long story short, she had shit going on. She was she was just getting ready to walk again. So like it was a struggle to go up to the 300 section, but I'm sure she wouldn't have traded it for the world because we got to see her live. And that was just such a beautiful concert. And I'm just so glad because I knew like I wanted to bring somebody that really, really loved Taylor Swift because I had gotten those tickets like last second, like probably a couple weeks before. And I was like, oh my God, I just bought 2 tickets. Like, who am I even going with? You know? So that was an incredible time. And then I moved to out of Connecticut to Texas. In Texas is really when things started to take off. I started to see concerts by myself in Texas. So my first concert marking that was Set It Off in August of 2023. And I met them. Mind you, this is like my third or fourth time meeting Set It Off because I had met them with one of my friends at the time, Taylor. I had met them, I think, twice with her, and then once at Warped Tour back in like 2015. And I had the picture and everything. But Set It Off, they went to Austin and they opened for another band. I forget which band it is at this time, but they opened for a different band, and I literally stayed just for them. I went by myself. It was like a random Monday or Wednesday, so I wanted to get home because I had work in the morning, so I was like, it's whatever. But yeah, definitely was a fun time meeting them again and realizing like I can do things alone. Like I was really on this kick of like I went to Italy alone, I went to New York City and then left alone. Like I was like I moved halfway across the country by myself. Like I've got this. That's like how I was feeling. So I was hyping myself up. It was amazing. Now, mind you, June and July, I didn't really do much because I was settling in, I was getting to know San Antonio, I was trying to make friends and all that jazz. So I really didn't do many concerts. But after Set It Off, I went to Dallas in September of 2023 and stayed the night in Dallas, and I saw Lauren Sanderson. I'm gonna look this one up because I feel like Lauren Sanderson goes by they, them, but might be she, they, might be she, her, and I'm blanking. She, they. Okay. I want to make sure I get the pronouns right because a lot of artists that I've loved or seen, or even like social media influencers, like they either go by she, they, or they, them, or she, her. So I'm like trying to differentiate in my mind, like, okay, who goes by what? Because these artists I've never met. Like some of them I've straight up never met. So my thought process is like, oh my God, like, you know, sometimes your mind blanks at which person you're talking about. But maybe that's just me. My mind is wild because I just worked for 8 hours as well. So that's that. So Lauren Sanderson did not meet, but I went solo to the Dallas show, and that was really fun. I'm glad I went because I ended up meeting somebody and talking for a little bit. So that was nice because I was like, okay, cool. Like, I've got this, you know? And with Set It Off, it was a little bit tough because I had like met some people, but like, we talked a little bit, but not really, you know? So when I went to Lauren Sanderson, it felt like a more welcoming gay community. You know, I was like ready for it. And it was just fun. And I was like in the back grabbing drinks, having a fun time. So I was like, cool. But I was really happy to go. And then I ended up going to a famous gay bar in Dallas, which, why do I not remember? you guys. Give me 1 second. Gay bars in Dallas, Texas. It was... Why do I feel like I should do lesbian bars and not gay bars? Please hold. Lesbian bars in Dallas, Texas. Sue Ellen's. I was about to say Henrietta Hudson's, and I'm like, no, that's in New York City. So I went to Sue Ellen's. That was embarrassing for me because the only person I found attractive was the bartender. And I was like, I'm not gonna be that cliche. And also, like, I was texting Larissa the whole time, pretty much, because I started to like her at this point, and I was like, what am I doing, Marissa? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it's funny because the bartender, just to give you guys like an insight on what she looked like, if you look up on Instagram or TikTok, it's an influencer. She reminds me of an influencer, and her name is Courtney Nelson. So it's Courtney33 Nelson. If you look up that on like Instagram or TikTok, that's who the bartender reminded me of. And I was like, ooh, my type. But anyway, I was also texting Larissa, and we were just friends at the time. So I was talking to Larissa as a friend, but like I was also kind of like, Larissa was the only one that kept me interested. That like everyone at Sue Ellen's, I was just like bored. I was like, okay, who are you people? Like, I wasn't really interested in talking to anyone. And that's why it sounds so wild to me, but it is what it is. So that was Lauren Sanderson. And then I ended up spending the night in the hotel, relaxing, my late checkout, blah, 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 drove back. And Dallas is like 5 hours. So like that was a fun drive there and back. But also in September of 2023, I saw Renee Rapp in Austin. That, my friends, was amazing. And I met so many people there that I connected with on social media, on like TikTok and on Instagram. And I was like, okay, cool, my people, even though I'm like, I felt like the oldest one there because I was like, oh my God, everyone's younger than me. But it was totally fine. I still had fun, and I still feel like everybody was super cool. So I was like, all right, I like this. It's good to know. But Renee Rapp is so freaking funny. And I had a great time. She puts on a great show. As does like everyone here in my list, but besides the point. And I definitely felt vibes between her and Toa. So I can't say, because I personally love Alyssa, so I personally feel bad because I was like, I'm feeling vibes between Toa and Renee, which apparently they're together now. And I was like, if I had known, I would have slid into Alyssa's DMs. Like, listen, they're a perfect human being, and I did try to flirt with them on TikTok a few times in the comments, but I was also like, so is everybody else, so like my comment's not gonna make a difference. But if I were to date one celebrity or influencer, or like if someone was to ask me who my influencer crush was or is, it would be AB. But if it was like a singer or something, I would probably have to pick somebody else because AB is not a singer. So if I was supposed to pick like a singer or someone, embarrassingly enough, I feel like it would be Renee Rapp just because she's funny. But Kehlani is also a person. So I feel like ultimately Kehlani would win on that one. But anyway, enough girl talk. Renee Rapp was an incredible show, and I loved it. Um, the next show was in Austin, and this time Larissa brought me. Larissa drove me because Larissa was sick of me having solo shows. Mind you, I had only went to 3 solo shows. Set It Off in Austin, Lauren Sanderson in Dallas, and Renee Rapp in Austin. So Larissa was like, "Oh my god, like I love Austin, like any excuse to go." So I was like, "Cool." So we end up going. Mind you, this show is sold out because it's G Flip. Um, so and it's literally at Cheer Up Charlie's, and it's a small space for anyone that isn't aware. And Renee had done it at the barbecue place, which has like a huge venue, like the Set It Off, like the band and whoever they opened for also had that barbecue place. It's a huge outdoor venue, so I think it's called Stubbs Barbecue. Anyway, so that's when Larissa knew she liked me because, well, first of all, let me get through the concert portion first, and then we'll talk tea. So I saw G Flip, and Mickey opened for G Flip, and I was so excited because I was like, yes, 2 people that I love. And I didn't get to meet Mickey, but I know that they are so incredible. I think that they know how to perform. I think it's in their blood. I think that they're going to be an artist to watch out for. And I don't know like what else I can say about them other than like they're just amazing. And I think that it would have been so cool to meet them, but I didn't stay for the entire show because there was a person in front of me who was being loud and obnoxious, and I was getting irritated because I was just over it. I was trying to record and have memories, but they were just like screaming and like wouldn't shut up, and I was like, okay, I'm over this. Like, I like to record because I actually do look back on those memories, especially my favorite songs. So I was just like, I'm over this. Like, I'm gonna go. I saw all of my favorite Mickey songs, all of my favorite G Flip songs. I was out. I was done. So then Larissa and I went on the town. We had a good night. We were drinking until like 2 a.m. We almost kissed, but we didn't. But yeah, that was definitely a fun show and one to remember because it marked a huge turn in my life. After G Flip and Mickey, after that, I took Tori to see the Jonas Brothers in Austin. And that was incredible because we were close to the B stage and I didn't even realize it. So we had such a fun time. We got good recordings of the B stage. And I had seen the Jonas Brothers a few years prior in Hartford. But to see them closer and just to like experience like a concert indoors and like not like this huge outdoor thing felt more intimate, and it was just amazing. A week later, in October of 2023, we Tori and I went again to the same arena and we saw Shania Twain. I got floor tickets to Shania Twain. So here was what happened. So I had originally bought like these random tickets. They were like in the 300s or whatever because I really wanted to go. So I just bought like the cheapest tickets and I was like, I'm going. But then the day of the concert, there were floor seats for cheap, so I just ended up buying them. Like literally like an hour before the show, I went on Ticketmaster and I'm like, I'm gonna buy these instead, and we're gonna sit here. So I did kind of waste 2 seats and a little bit of money on those seats, but I didn't care because I wanted floor seats. So that was a little impulsive in my spending, but so worth it because I didn't realize that Shania like came out into the crowd and she was, I kid you not, like 5 rows away from me, like 5 rows. Literally, like if I had 2 arms, I could have probably reached her. It was insane and probably one of the best nights of my life, in terms of floor seat concerts, because I did see Kaylani on the floor and I met her, which was cool. But I think because I didn't meet Shania, and I have loved Shania for so long, like ever since I was young, I was like so excited to like be face to face. But after that, there was another concert that I don't remember the exact date, but I went with Larissa. This was before we started dating. We saw Papa Roach and Shine Down. And the tickets were $25 because of like some Ticketmaster deal of like $25 tickets. So I was like $50 for 2 people. Are you kidding me? Of course. So I ended up buying them and we went, and that was where we shared our first kiss. And it was really fun because I got to just enjoy a concert for once, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like all of the other concerts I went to, I was recording because I love them so much that I was like recording all of their songs so I can replay them back at a later time and just watch them over and over again like a crazy woman. But this one, like, I just straight up enjoyed with her. I did record a couple of songs, but like majority, I was just enjoying it with her. So it was amazing. Um, in November of 2023, I saw Russell Dickerson in Houston, and I took Tori with me, and we met him. This was my birthday present to Tori. So like I was like pulling out all the stops. I was like, girl, like me moving to Texas has changed my life. Like, I couldn't thank her enough because she like let me stay with her for a couple weeks until I got my keys and got furniture and moved all my stuff in. So like I was just very appreciative, and I was like, I have a surprise for you. Like, we're gonna meet him, and then we have like these crappy seats. But it was nice because I don't know about most people, but I find the floor kind of boring and annoying because unless you're barricade or you have seats, it's not it. So, um, we got in early enough for barricade technically, but I was just like not having it to buy floor tickets at that point. So we went into our seats, and they were far away, but I was so thankful to sit down because we drove to Houston. We stood in line for VIP. We stood for the whole time of the VIP meet and greet experience. We asked him questions and stuff, but we were all standing. So I was like, I'm sick of standing. Like, I want to sit down. And that's like one thing I've learned growing up with these concerts is that like I'm so sick and I just want to sit down. Like, I'm so sick of standing. Um, but I got a picture with him and it was really cool. I was really thankful. And he's tall, like super tall. But yeah, that was definitely a concert of the books. Then in 2023. So that was like the beginning of November. So November, December, and January, I did not go to any concerts because November, I was like, okay, I just went to like literally like 5 different concerts. I need to chill. And I also went to go see my mom in December for Christmas. So I was just like over it, exhausted. I ended up going to Las Vegas and New Orleans with Larissa in January. So the next concert I went to was in February, and ironically, it was Brooks and Dunn, but it was because of the San Antonio Rodeo. So that's like the only reason like I would have went to that concert. Is because we watched the rodeo. My mom and Mike came down and they were with us, and so we all had seats for the rodeo and the show, and it was really cool because I was like, okay, like I do like country music, and like, you know, I'm not gonna pretend like I don't anymore. um So the rodeo was really cool. I had an allergy attack. My mom had an allergy attack. Not very fun, but they cleaned it up. The concert, like the show must go on. So like the concert was really fun. I got to like listen to their type of music. And this is like something my mom and Mike wanted to do. So I was like, okay, cool. And then we ended up leaving and, going home after a while. But it was definitely cool. And I'm glad I went because I've never been to a rodeo before. But now I can say that I can. Because every time I went to the Big E, for whatever reason, I never went to their rodeo. I always just like went on rides and ate a bunch of food. So, like, going to the San Antonio rodeo was like amazing. Um, then my birthday month came. So it was mostly like chill, and also like I felt like concerts kind of die down in the spring and they tend to pick up in the summer again. So we didn't really do anything. Um, but in April, Larissa and I went to go see Saint Motel, and it's more of an obscure-ish band. Like they have some popular stuff, but like they literally played at the Pearl. Like in this like venue that like reminds me of like Toad's Place in New Haven, which is wild because I saw Madison Beer in Toad's Place. So, I mean, they can fit quite a few people. It's just like they don't sell like arenas or stadiums. They just sell like these little concert venues. So, I don't know. I love Saint Motel, and I got my girlfriend into them. She likes some of their songs, so it was really fun. It was another concert where I did record quite a few songs, but I also just wanted to vibe. So like there was a portion where like her and I just like sat back and vibed. Um, and I was really glad that we were able to go because it was a Friday and she gets off late on Fridays, but we were still able to make it because the show was later. So for the most part, we weren't barricaded at all. We were just hanging in the back, but it was still a fun time. And then last but not least, the concert I went to this past weekend was Luke frickin' Combs. Okay, 2 nights. 2 nights. I went both days because I got his bootleggers pre-sale, and I was freaking amazed because the first night I knew literally no one for the openers. I knew one song from one of the openers. I took Tori that night, and it was really fun. We had a great time. We got there early, and we literally like as soon as we got in, we went straight to merch, bought merch, straight to Waters, bought Waters, and then went inside and bought food. So it was like a perfect combination. We got everything done in time, and like we made it to our seats and we had a grand old time. We took pictures and everything too. So it was like a perfect day, an easy Friday. I left early from work, used some PTO, and like just enjoyed myself at the concert. Didn't drink at all though, because her and I feel like when we go, like we think that we want to, but we don't really want to. So it was fun nonetheless. And then Saturday I took Z, just so like it was basically the same set list, and Tori was like I don't need to go to that show. Like I've got Friday, and Friday he played Dive, which is something she really wanted to hear. So thankfully it worked out for the best. But Saturday I was even more excited because Mitchell Tenpenny and Jordan Davis were going to be opening. There were like 4 openers for Luke Combs, by the way, and I was like, who the hell has 4 openers? What is this, like a rock concert where there's like multiple openers? I don't know if y'all remember, but remember when A Day to Remember, All Time Low, and Sleeping with Sirens all went on tour together, and I was like, what is this fuckery? Like it was insane. So no, it wasn't Sleeping with Sirens. It was Pierce the Veil, and it was like the house party tour. And I was like, they're all opening for each other basically. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, I'm not at a rock concert. Why are there 4 openers? But anyway, it is what it is. Jordan Davis, I freaking love him. If he came anywhere close when he was on his world tour, I would have went, but he was not, so I had to suffer. But Mitchell Tenpenny was also really, really good. I loved his set. Same thing with Jordan Davis. And then Luke Combs, again, pretty much the same songs, different order, but I still recorded My Life Away. Saturday was a lot different though, because I felt like the tailgating was more popular. More people were eating and drinking outside. It was packed. And I was like, how? Because Friday it wasn't. And I was like, what is going on? But then I realized Friday people were still getting out of work because the doors opened at like 5:45, or doors opened at 5 and the concert started at 5:45. So people didn't really come until Luke Combs performed. And we had also gotten there at like 3:30 in the afternoon on Friday. So I just felt like a lot of people weren't there yet. Whereas Saturday, like everyone's off of work, everyone's ready to tailgate and party. So it was definitely a different experience for both days, but I'm so glad that I went both days and had those separate experiences. And now I know if I want to go to a concert, I should probably go on a weekday if I can. If they're popular. If they're not popular, I can get away with a weekend. But again, it was a fun time, and literally that list was 17 concerts. So in 2 years, I went to 17 concerts. That is not exactly a concert a month, but it's dang close enough for me to be concerned with how often I go to concerts. But I want you guys to keep in mind the most expensive concert was probably between Luke Combs and Kehlani, because Kehlani I had the VIP. Um, the cheapest was definitely the Shinedown, but so was Saint Motel. Saint Motel was probably like $25 too. So I want you guys to realize, like, some of these people are like big names, but some of these people are also like big names in certain areas. Like Fletcher, I don't think her concert was that expensive. Um, it was literally in New York City in this huge room, and I got general admission, and I was like way in the back. Like it was not like $200 to go see Fletcher or something ridiculous like that. Like it was reasonable. It was probably like under 100. So same thing with Lauren Sanderson. G Flip and Mickey I think was $50. Renee Rapp might have been 100. I can't remember. Or maybe I wanted to get VIP and then I didn't, because I wanted to meet her, but then I didn't meet her because I didn't want to spend the extra money. Because I was like, I would have to take off of work for VIP, and I didn't want to do that day. Because I had already taken off of work for Lauren Sanderson because I had to drive all the way to Dallas. So I was like, nah, I can't be taking off like so many times in a week basically, or in a month, for all of these concerts, because I also took off for Set It Off, because I didn't take off like the whole time, but like I left early. So I was like, okay, I keep leaving early for concerts, I need to cut it. So I decided that with Renee Rapp that I wouldn't get VIP meet and greet. But I wanted to. I think it sold out. I think that's what the issue was. But and then I told myself that it was okay because I would have had to take off from work for PTO to meet her, because VIP meet and greet is always before the show, which is great usually, but exhausting. But anyway, those are all the concerts I went to, and hopefully you guys got a fun vibe out of that. But I also want you to think about what makes you happy. What, honestly, like, what makes you happy, and what is it about your life that you want to incorporate? What is it that makes you want to do something different? because you need to find out who you are, especially outside of your relationship. You should not be defining yourself based on your relationship all of the time. Like, I don't want to define myself based off of like being Larissa's girlfriend. Like, I want to have my own hobbies, my own fun. So, in defining that, like, I'm a concert goer. I love doing that. I love going to see artists. I love experiencing live music. Um, and like this Saturday, I'm actually going to a Pilates class, like a free, kind of like a trial class. So I'm going to see how that goes. But that's like in and of itself, like that's me trying something new and having this experience. And it's crazy to me because I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I've been wanting to do. And I'm finally doing it. So I just want y'all to keep this episode in mind as like, what is it that gets you going? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that like you have to look forward to? What are your hobbies? What do you enjoy? What do you do when you're not working? You know, do you socialize? Do you go out? Are you active? Figure it out, and I promise you it'll be so fun. For me, concert going was it for like those those 2 years, 2022, 2023, and so far in 2024 I've only gone to, oh my god, I've only gone to 3 concerts in 2024, and it's May. But 2022 and 2023, that was like my entire life, was just going to concerts and having fun and exploring. So figure out what makes you happy, what you want to do, how you want to spend your time, and I promise you good things will come to you from that. But for now, I thank you guys for listening or watching or both. And I love you so, 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 so much. Love you guys. Bye.